Bernie Sanders endorsed Hillary Clinton just 2 weeks ago. But America's second favorite progressive senator, Elizabeth Warren, has already been campaigning for Clinton for weeks now, and with a level of enthusiasm that's prompted many of her supporters to ask, who really is she?
We're here to fight side by side with Hillary Clinton.
Warren said almost nothing during the Democratic primaries, but now she's drawing criticism both from Hillary Clinton supporters for having been the last woman in the Senate to endorse Clinton, as well as from Bernie Sanders supporters, who are frustrated that one of their favorite progressives never joined the Bernie bandwagon.
When progressives fall in love, they don't ask a lot of questions.
Bill Curry, a former aide to Bill Clinton and now a columnist for Salon.com, says progressives have grown intoxicated by a senator who he feels has been deeply misunderstood.
Did you know that she was, for most of her life, a Republican? As best I can tell, she didn't become a Democrat until the 2000s.
When Elizabeth Warren was elected to the Senate in 2012 after beating Republican Scott Brown, she'd already been in the national spotlight for going after the banks that caused the 2008 crash. First overseeing the government's TARP program, and then pushing for the creation of the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau in 2010. As senator, she earned a saintly reputation almost overnight.
Cracking down on the payday loan industry is a big thing. Cracking down on the abuses, on the untruths that are contained in bank documents, etc. All that is good work.
She kept that energy going in the Senate, adding the fight for minimum wage, for example, to her docket of issues. But Curry says her popularity, which grew from favorable to now almost legendary, has managed to obscure both her as a person and her politics.
On the larger question of whether small businesses can get capital, whether the companies that, whether the banks get to take almost 2% every time people swipe a credit card, on that actual question of the allocation of money, wealth, and power, it's a little less clear. She's for making them honest and not letting them be irresponsible. But I'm not sure the more systemic the issue, the less clear it is.
It's not that there aren't any hints of her establishment leanings. She's known for tempering her firebrand politics with a fierce loyalty to the Democratic Party, for example.
We need Democrats.
She also toes the party line on Israel, voting during Israel's 2014 assault on Gaza to send an additional $225 million in aid for upgrades to Israel's Iron Dome defense system. She also falsely accused Iran of pursuing nuclear weapons during the country's negotiations with the United States.
In her campaign memoir, she cited Madeleine Albright as her principal foreign policy advisor. Albright is obviously the most iconic figure of the most hawkish wing of the Democratic Party. I sure would like to know more about that.
In 2014, she agreed to serve as an emissary to progressives after Senate Minority Leader Harry Reid asked her to do so, which Curry points out would have been the perfect time to begin trying to transform the Democratic Party, as Sanders has tried to do.
With all the need for movement building, I don't think she saw that opportunity, and if she saw it, she didn't take it.
But it's also true that these points are slightly minor. Curry says it may be more accurate to say that Elizabeth Warren's popularity amongst progressives, even as she continues to prop up the establishment, may have more to do with voters longing for a politician in Washington with some kind of expertise and integrity on at least a couple issues.
I think, again, I would say I'm grateful for her expertise in those issues. There are fewer and fewer politicians with any expertise whatsoever. Their only expertise, increasingly, in the United States Congress is fundraising. They spend more time fundraising than they do talking to their own children, let alone reading up on policy. It's just what that life has become. And so to find somebody who brings that much intellectual capital, even in a few areas, is a big deal.
In the end, Curry says that Warren's most significant shortcoming isn't what she says, but what she doesn't say. From single-payer to mass incarceration and to climate change. That without a structural approach to the problems we face in America, she's only capable of pushing for minor reforms.
The fix that is needed here is much more systemic. It's not enough just to add a little onto Obamacare. We do need to move to single-payer, certainly a real public option. For openers. We need a whole new energy system, and we need to move to it rapidly. You can go right across the board. Our entire national security system, we're buying the wrong kind of defense and spending far more than we should on it. Every one of these areas needs not just a little bit of fixing, but as I said, a gut rehab. Who are the politicians who see that? Is Warren one of them? I don't know yet.
For The Real News, Thomas Hedges, Washington.